House Majority Leader Tom DeLay, Republican of Texas. Mr. DeLay, are you happy with the tone of the Republican campaign? Phrases like socialist, communist, anti-American, all kinds of stuff being thrown at Barack Obama. Is it right? Is it fair? Is it smart?
Absolutely it is. I wish McCain would be a little more assertive, to be honest with you. I think what's going to win this is when people get to the polls, they just can't bring themselves to vote for a radical like Obama. It's deja vu all over again. He's more to the left than Gore or John Kerry put together, and the American people are starting to realize that, and that's what I think McCain ought to be focusing on. Not that Obama's not ready. Hillary Clinton tried that. It's that he is too radical for the American people.
Where would you put him on that spectrum between, well, you're using terms like socialist, you're happy, I guess, okay with words like communist. We had somebody on the show the other day who said he ought to be checked out for being anti-American. Where would you put him? Do you think he's anti-American in his values?
Chris, I tagged him as a Marxist months ago, particularly when you look at his relationship with Jeremiah Wright, his relationship with William Ayers. It's not that Wright makes outrageous sermons. It's that Jeremiah Wright is a black liberation theology preacher. And 20 years of association means that he must agree with the Marxist theology of black liberation theology. Same with William Ayers. It's not that he's a terrorist. It's that this guy is so anti-American, he wants to completely destroy America and build a new America. And yet,
who are you talking about? McCain? Are you talking about
William
Barack
Ayers.
wants to destroy it? Oh, where's Barack on this? Do you think Barack's anti-American?
Well, I'm not going to go that far, but the interview on NPR.
Well, you're going pretty far. You're calling him a Marxist.
Well,
that's pretty far. You're calling him a radical. That's pretty far.
Chris, all you have to do is listen to that interview in 2001 on NPR that came out this week, and that connects all the dots. I mean, he explained his worldview. He explained his worldview as it relates to the Constitution. He called the Constitution a charter of negative rights, and that we need to rewrite the Constitution to broaden the scope of the government to work on your behalf. If that's not socialist, if that's not Marxist, I don't know what is.
So where are we at on this? Let me ask you about something that Congresswoman Michelle Bachmann of Minnesota said on this show the other day. She said that she thought that the media ought to conduct a probe of anti-American thinking within the Democratic side of the Congress. Do you think that's smart to say something like that?
Well, I know Michelle Bachmann. She is a brilliant congresswoman, and I think she's going to be reelected in Minnesota. She thinks that there are particularly people like William Ayers that are Democrats that you need to look at who they are and what is behind all their rhetoric and their demagoguery. That's what she was talking about, and call it for what it is. I mean, you know, Barack Obama goes on offense when people start saying what he truly is.
Okay.
The real Obama is coming out, Chris, and we all know it.
I'm not going to let you get in as deep a hole as you want to dig here, Congressman, because I know you want to get deep in this hole, because I know you don't believe this about everybody. Let me ask you to slice and dice this. Let's take a real liberal like Barney Frank, who you worked with, okay? Yeah. Is he anti-American? Is he anti-American?
Not at all.
Okay, distinguish him between...
He's a legitimate liberal. He's a brilliant man. I disagree with everything he does, but I have great respect for him.
Okay, distinguish him from the Democratic candidate for president this year, Barack Obama. Just take a classic liberal like Barney from Newton, Massachusetts, who would love the word liberal. He's got no problem with it. He would probably accept the same language you use about him. He'd say, fine, that's me. And you'd probably like the language he would apply to you. Fine. But let's talk about this use of the word radical, Marxist, the other terms you threw at Obama tonight, applied to Obama. How's Obama different than Barney Frank, for example?
I've known Barney Frank for a very, very long time, and I know Barney Frank believes in the Constitution. Now, he may have a little bit different interpretation, but he doesn't want to go out and stack the Supreme Court so that the Supreme Court will allow you to completely shred the Constitution. Obama wants that. Obama's worldview is redistribution of wealth. Obama's worldview is to attack people. I mean, you saw it in Joe the Plumber. Attack people and destroy them if they have a different point of view than yours. I mean, Obama is a radical. and you can, and at the very best, he is a socialist.
But we have a, let's talk about what we're stuck with. What we have is we have a tax system. The way the burden is distributed, as you know, you probably make a little more than a congressman make now, maybe a lot more, but you realize the way this tax system works is if you make a good deal of money, you pay about 50% if you count state and local and federal. It gets up to about 50%. Yeah. If you don't make much money, if you're a working guy or working woman out there, you mainly pay payroll taxes. You don't pay a big chunk of income taxes. We have a very progressive tax system that really hits you harder at the top. Yeah, are you against that?
No,
are you against that?
We ought to throw this tax system out. And we ought to impose a fair tax system where every American is paying some tax and has some vested interest in America. But Obama wants to raise your taxes, and I guarantee you he will not cut taxes. He will come in as president, if he is president, along with Nancy Pelosi and Harry Reid, and the first thing they'll do is raise taxes, and they'll forget about cutting taxes. And they want to get taxes back up to the rates that they were back when they were in control back in the 60s and 70s. Okay. And you'll be paying 80% and 90%, just like Europe. That's how you can redistribute the wealth.
Mr. DeLay, a political question. You helped build the Republican majority in the House of Representatives back in the 90s. It wasn't 100 years ago. It was fairly recently. Right. Now it looks like your party's about to take another beating, maybe lose 30 more seats next Tuesday. It's going to be down to the old shrivel of the Republican Party it was 20, 30 years ago, down to 160 seats maybe, 170 seats. Whose fault is that? You wish,
Chris. It may get down to 170 at the worst.
Well, we compared numbers. Okay, 170. I'm telling you, it's way down to where it was out of 435. That's a small minority. I'm just asking you, without getting into exact numbers, I don't know why you're doing it. You're a smart guy. Okay, 170. How does it get down that far?
Wait. I'm not saying 170.
Okay. I'm not. Okay, you think I'm trying to pin you? I'm not trying to pin you. If your party takes a big loss next week, whose fault is it?
Oh, there's lots of faults, and you can't point the fingers. And the one thing I'm trying to do, and I have been for the last 2 years, is tell Republicans and conservatives to get over it. Everybody wants to blame each other and point the finger at everybody. There was a lot of things that brought the party down. No one person, no one ideology. And what we need to be doing is understand that and start rebuilding again. We've been there before. We were there in the 70s, and we came back very, very strong. So we can do it again.
Well, it must be tough to lose to people you think are Marxist radicals. I mean, that must really hurt.
Oh, we're not going to lose. The American people are going to figure it out and vote against Obama.
Okay. It's great having you on, Congressman. You speak your mind. You do not speak with a forked tongue, that's for sure. Former U.S. Congressman Tom DeLay, once part of the brilliant leadership of the Republican Party in the Congress, now in hasty retreat.